Hello, I'm Junso Song. I talk about Korea company marketing, and the title is Store Location: How Starbucks Store Location Strategy Helps Korean Companies Market. And agenda is consists of the scopus paper and abstract and background, and methods and result and conclusion. Um, First of all, the reason why I choose this paper is because I've seen a lot of shops in place where I can never do business when I work down the street. For example, you can think of a convenience store located on a high floor, and that's why the most basic thing about marketing is location selection, and I chose it to analyze it through Starbucks, a global company, and this my main focus, Scuba's paper. The
Awesome.
title
I love it. Good job.
title is Does the Starbucks Effect Exist? Searching for a relationship between Starbucks and the adjacent lands. In summary, when Starbucks, which is called the Starbucks effect, comes in, the surrounding businesses come to life or increase in price, and most Starbucks is accessible or assess it's about positioning in a good place. And next, oh, and next keyword and abstract. The keyword may be Starbucks and location and trade and consumer and opening ceremony and Korea. And the abstract is it will mainly deal with how global companies are positioned and how they affect consumption behavior and analyze Korean companies. Most studies focus on consumers. This approach can overlook the elements of a store and will be analyzed through various examples and interviews. Consumers are affected by a variety of factors and consume. Among them, it will prove the importance of location by analyzing the case of Korean companies related to location factors. Background was um, what influences consumption in the world. I tried to find out what was the main factor in consumption and so on. Next background was the effects of COVID-19 on consumer shopping behavior, generation, cohort perspective. The disease has changed the current purchasing system worldwide. So I will be deal with situation before Corona. Yeah. And first methods, I wanted to know the importance of location. And in my own experience, I thought that location is important among the elements that make up the store. And is it really important for a consumer? And I want to find out through data verification that can come from this and what makes location important and what benefits can be gained. Mm, and I'm going um, use the interviews and if possible, I will try qualitative research methods through interviews. The picture above is the location of Starbucks around our school. I'm gonna call the managers in advance. I'm going to ask various questions with permission. For example, how do you decide to enter Starbucks? Do you feel the Starbucks effect? Starbucks store are close by. Does it affect sales because it will be less competitive? And result and conclusion. is how companies through Starbucks in the US choose their locations. It's interesting that Starbucks positioning marketing is applied not only to local area, but to various countries. Based on this, what strategies should Korean companies come up with, analyzing Korean markets and setting an example for Korea? Difference. Thank you.
Okay, that was good, short and sweet. You have a few minutes left before the next group goes. Please try to manage your classmates and get some feedback for what could you do to make you look better if you interact with Starbucks or whatever company you're going to contact. Is that clear?
Pardon?
Ask your classmates for some type of evaluation so that you can improve in case you want to contact some company executives and survey them next week. So what do your classmates say you could do?
I wonder if the Starbucks managers would know about the Starbucks effect.
That's good idea.
What actually is your suggestion to him? You wonder if somebody knows something. Great. I don't wonder if somebody else knows something. Can you be more specific?
So I'm wondering that he was going to interview the Starbucks manager about the Starbucks effect, and I wonder if the Starbucks managers would know about the Starbucks effect and explain about it.
Okay, so what could we do for that? Sung Junso, what are you able to do? First of all, do you plan to interview Starbucks employees or executives?
No.
Okay, that makes it easy. If you want to work with Starbucks, for example, in the future, using your research that you already have and several research papers, they're very valuable, they're educational, sharing that information with those company employees might teach them something and help them learn and develop, and it makes you look good, so you might have an easier chance to get a job with them or have a better relationship with them. Which company do you want to work with in the future? Starbucks or a different company?
Different company.
Okay. Do you plan to contact a company to develop your paper, like survey someone? You don't have to, but most students in the past, they use their research, and in week 8, they actually survey people. They will survey other students, they will survey friends in Facebook, and they will try to use LinkedIn, for example, to find people working in a company they like and survey them. So, Yoon Sung-won, can you repeat what I just said? What can you do in week 8?
My presentation topic.
The question, now I'm going to give the question to Kim Jae-kyung. In week 8, our class is designed so that you have free time to develop your research project. Most students usually survey workers in a company they like. What company or what activities do you plan to do in your week 8? Do you plan to contact a company or just survey other students? How do you plan to develop your research paper? And at the same time, can you get ready to show your screen? So can you answer that at the same time as you prepare to show your screen?
Can I presentate our thing first?
I'd like you to answer the question. How are you going to develop your paper? Do you plan to survey people?
I think we need to
Everybody in
talk.
class must think about this. Go ahead.
Yeah, but not really.
Okay, so what we're doing today is getting evaluations on how to continue to develop. Go ahead, keep presenting your paper. At the end, we will be able to keep talking about it.
Okay. Hello, our group will present about Starbucks marketing strategies specializing in Korea. Among the many material we found, there are two interesting papers. And this is the keywords of our paper. The first, this paper is about an investigation of Korean consumer service quality, perception of imports, retail service, implication of consumer innocentrism. This is a paper underestimate the quality of service in a country with strong innocentrism such as Korea, China, and United States. As a result, reliability, responsiveness, and empathy factor were empirically proved to have significant relationship between consumers innocentrism and consumers' perceived quality of import service. And this is a second paper. And for this second paper is about study of digital transformation, strategy Starbucks case study. And what was interesting about this paper was how they applied digital information of marketing. Therefore, we found out how Starbucks, like leading coffee culture company in the world, has established itself in Korea.
From now on, I will explain about strategies specific to Korea. In Korea, the pleasant atmosphere of store comfortable chairs and varied service makes Starbucks a place where people want to stay. Starbucks introduced free Wi-Fi service in store for the first time in Korea through a contract with KT in 2010. In addition, the outlets installed in the stores have contributed to establishing the Starbucks as a cultural space, accommodating those who want to study is mean cafe and study, and stay in a coffee, and coffee mean is coffee plus office. This premium strategy paid off. Consumers began to buy the premium image and atmosphere of Starbucks. This is another reason that merchandise with the Starbucks logo sold extremely well. Beyond the performance and design of the product, the merchandise represents the brand value of Starbucks. Localization efforts can also be found in store and merchandise product design. Starbucks Gyeongju Bomun Lake Drive Drugstore has a floor seating area, and Starbucks Insadong store is the only one in the world that uses non-English signage written in the local language. More than 80% of merchandise products are developed by domestic design staff who actively utilize Korean traditional images such as Hangul and ancient palace. And the next part is customized strategies to target Korean taste. The sale of Starbucks in Korea is ranked 5th in the world and top in terms of sale volume adjusted by population. Starbucks' popularity in Korea is due to its localization strategy. Starbucks works with local companies when marketing to overseas markets. Starbucks Coffee Korea was also established in the form of a joint venture between Starbucks headquartered in the US and Shinsegae in Korea, each holding 50% in stakes. The Starbucks menu also attempts to target Korean customer taste. More than 70% of the beverages served at Starbucks are original beverages developed in Korea. Seasonal menus that use seasonal ingredients and local specialties attract consumers' attention every time they are released. 문경 오미자 비주, 광양 yellow plum 비주, and 제주 한라봉 matcha are some examples. In particular, these tips losing Gyeonggi rice have become a bestseller with more than 1.8 million units sold over 10 years after its launch.
We looked at other marketing that allows Starbucks to be the top of the coffee market. Digital transformation uses digital technology to understand and analyze data on customer experiences in various channels, has an operation process that can respond in real time, and seeks new business opportunities. Companies that have successfully implemented these changes are able to overcome crises by willing to accept change. In this study, we can see Starbucks use on-demand services and big data to provide customized services based on an individual GPS and their coffee preference. A representative example of Starbucks is the siren order. Through siren orders, a big data system, it provides convenience by predicting customers' taste in beverage and recommends various menus. One interesting point is that siren orders were made in Korea and exported to other countries. So our conclusion is we will explain that we obtain through collecting materials while making PPT. We learn about the marketing methods Starbucks is pursuing, such as siren order, and it was possible to conclude that constant communication with customer has an important influence on attracting customers. We will find out more about how Starbucks, which has already reached the top, will and grow further. And our references are here. Thank you.
Great. Again, I am not managing this class. You guys are managing this class. So far, there's 2 groups that presented. You should be trying to get evaluations and comments for how you can complete your paper. Take a look at the chat that I just sent everyone. Every one of you is in the same position. You need to develop your paper, which is good. You're doing well so far. And you have a choice. I'm trying to make the class easier. The normal class requirement is you need to get every classmate to do an evaluation of your project. Some students are extra shy. They said that's difficult. So you have an option. If you share your files, several students share your link to your files now, you can share your files with one new student in the class and just evaluate one of the partners and email that back to your partner and email me by Sunday night. You will know. Do you understand what I just said?
Oh, yes.
Okay, can you repeat what you need to do before Sunday?
You need to share the link of your project and maybe send it to email.
Find one other student that has that is listed in our sign up form. I will share my screen and show you so everybody knows where we're talking about. In the sign up page where everybody's talking about their weekly topic and the term project, at the bottom, we have the list of every student as of this week. And so the first student number here will take their paper and give it to the student underneath them, and they will exchange. The next student will take their paper and give it to the student underneath them. If the person you're sharing with is in your same group, you need to move to the next person down and keep going in order so everyone just does an evaluation of one other person's project. So start doing that now in our Zoom chat, and you can use the Facebook posts to make things easier. With that said, I also want to point out that Sung Junso and Kim Jae-kyung and your team, you should be trying to use 2 more minutes to get suggestions on how to get perfect marks for your project. Try to get suggestions from your teammates. At the end of this week, after you're emailing me, I will show you detailed evaluations, but try to get details, try to get practice managing in class now. Lee Chang-hun, do you understand those details? Lee Chang-hyun?
Yes,
So what student number are you going to exchange your paper with in order to get at least one paragraph evaluation? Do you know?
I think it was Junho Kwon.
Okay, so you have a good strategy. You should be trying to contact that person in chat. Anybody have any comments? We have 1 minute left to help Lee Da-young and Kim Yoon-so and Kim Jae-kyung. Anybody have any comments for them? What about Hua? Do you have any comments for the first 2 presenters? At the same time as Hua gets ready to talk, Jung Sungjin, are you ready to start sharing your screen and your presentation?
Yes, I am. Should I share my screen?
Yes, that's the safest thing to do. So while we're waiting for Jung Sungjin to share the screen, any help or ideas for your classmates? 2 groups have already
Professor?
presented. Yes.
It says my screen can't be shared.
Okay. It was because we did not talk enough at the beginning. So I have now shared link. You can share now. Anybody else that wants to present, like Lee Chang-gun and Ha Kwan-jun and Yoon Jun-bo and Kim Eun-bin, if you want to present and get marks today, you should be trying to talk. If you stay quiet, there's a chance you will run out of time. That's not a good thing.
Can I start?
Why are you asking me?
Okay.
I prefer dancing on a beach with beer, but if you want marks, yes, you have to present.
Okay, hello. My name is Sung Jin. Today I'd like to introduce my term project topic, and it's understanding the fourth industrial revolution, how the fourth industrial revolution will influence Samsung, and how can it benefit their marketing strategy. In the midst of the development of the fourth industrial revolution, also known as Industry 4.0, it is a hot issue in our society nowadays. This paper will allow us to understand what the fourth industrial revolution means. And after that, it will cover how the Industry 4.0 affects the world and how it penetrates our lives. Based on this, I will figure out the marketing strategy of Samsung and find out how Samsung is exposed to Industry 4.0 and how it uses Industry 4.0. I will then analyze and identify marketing strategies using Fourth Industrial Revolution of other companies and countries. Based on the analyzed data, I will allow it to understand the current social structure of Korea and see how Samsung can maximize its profits by utilizing the Fourth Industrial Revolution in their marketing strategy in Korea. With the Fourth Industrial Revolution having a profound impact on society, it is necessary to keep up and be on pace. Also, due to the social structure of Korea, of course, it's not always a positive effect, but put it bluntly, Korea is strongly dependent on large companies like Samsung. So I think it is important and necessary to recognize the characteristics and marketing strategies of large companies. For the literature review, I have posted some articles to inform what ideas I have been looking up. These articles aim to present an outline of changes in marketing for companies implementing the concept of Industry 4.0 in the context of design principles of Industry 4.0. It informs a better understanding of the Industry 4.0 phenomenon in the context of changes in the area of marketing in general and industrial markets in particular. For this article, I like the way it is neatly organized and structured, so I will replicate the format for my term paper. Anyway, in this article, it states that it attempts to understand and clarify Industry 4.0 and informs infrastructure development for connection, AI development for data-driven decision-making, system and process optimization, industrial innovation, and social advance. It helps establish a common ground for understanding Industry 4.0 across multiple disciplinary perspectives, enabling further research and development for industrial innovation and social advance. For the method, I will collect various papers, data to understand the marketing strategy of the company and its character, and I will collect paper data on the prospects of the Fourth Industrial Revolution and how useful it is in the current society, and also collect news, interviews on how executives run the company. If the sources I research is not enough to make a conclusion for my paper, I will take a survey additionally. This is my reference. Thank you for your attention. If there is a comment, please let me know.
Great. We are flying through these projects very quickly. You just presented. Can you try to get some feedback from your classmates?
Me?
Yes.
Pick anyone or?
Yes, you try to manage.
Lee-Chang-yeon, can you give a comment or evaluate?
I guess the abstract should be less than 150 words, but I think it was much more than 150. And when I see the reference, I think this paper for like Samsung is a little bit too less. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that. While we get ready for the next presentation, I just want to point out some things. Sungjin Jung, what do you see here? You can't get marks if you don't share all of the details. So make sure the information is properly linked so other people can review the details. Is that clear, Jung Sungjin?
Okay.
Next, while Jung Sungjin is still trying to share your files and get feedback from your classmates, I would like to get confirmation from Lee Changgun or Ha Kwanjun.
Professor, could you give me your address post?
Keep talking. Is this Kwan Junha?
Yeah.
Yes. So yes, you are co-host. You can share details. Anybody else want to get ready to share your files? Going once, going twice. Okay, so you can still see my screen. There's a lot of comments and evaluation details I have. Everyone must make sure of what I am showing on my screen now. Make sure that you have your PPT and all of the articles you're referencing saved in your folder that you're sharing to the class. That has to be number one. Make sure there's two different ways to share. When you're sharing it to me or the teaching team, which is Sean.Watts.Teaching@gmail, you must make sure I have the ability to edit details. Does that make sense? And when you share your link, open in like the Facebook post, for example, make sure that they can comment on your files. Can I get Lee Dayoung? How are you today? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
How can you change from sharing your link with comment status or edit status? Can you explain that to the class?
How can I change?
Yes. How can you give me your link? As we see here, these students have links to their files.
We can.
Yeah, go ahead.
We can email you or just send this my link on class outline, and you will see and upload my link.
What I'm asking is, how do you get it? For example, I have one student's folder here, and you can get the link this way. You can see my screen, and it shows that anyone on the internet can comment. So you can share this with your classmates in your Facebook page or in the Zoom link now. But that's not good enough for the teaching team for me to actually give you comments. So you need to be able to change this status. You can adjust it and make sure that I have editing status. Okay, when you email the link to the teaching team, make sure it's not just comment, not just view, but the teaching team can edit and give you notes or evaluation. Understand?
Yes.
Anybody need clarification of that? This, for example, is what one student didn't make sure it's commenting or didn't make sure it's open to edit, and it's still restricted. So they shared a link, but the link is only good for that one person, not outside people. So you must understand those details. With that said, we have gone through and we are on the next group. Feel free to start sharing your screen if you want to start presenting now.
Hello, we will present about using green energy at automobile. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, and we can see your
Okay.
slides. Great.
Okay. Steve Jobs is the person who made the impossible to possible, but another person came out. This is Elon Musk, the founder of Tesla. He popularized eco-friendly cars by Tesla. Suddenly, we wondered what the automobile industry would look like in the future and whether there would be no problems. As everyone knows, global warming is getting worse over time. As a result, many countries have imposed restrictions on industrial emissions. The automotive industry is also not avoiding the regulation. This rule actually predicted the end of the internal combustion engine. From now on, we will look at the types of eco-friendly cars and problems of the future automobile industry. Green cars are vehicles that are energy efficient and meet pollution-free or low pollution standards. A car that emits less air pollution or emissions than conventional internal combustion locomotives and has better fuel efficiency is also called an eco-friendly car. Eco-friendly vehicles include hybrid and fuel cell and plug-in hybrid and battery electric vehicle as defined it in the Act on the Promotion of Development and Dissemination of Green Vehicles. Hybrid and plug-in both use internal combustion engine and motor. And hybrid you charge while driving, but plug-in hybrid are charged by connecting a charger, also including charging while driving. Electric vehicle is only using motor and no exhaust gases when driving. And battery performance becomes critical. A fuel cell electric vehicle is pretty similar to an electric car, but water is discharged instead of exhaust gas.
The problem is, first, the infrastructure is still poor and there are not enough charging stations. In automobiles, the infrastructure is gas stations, parts stores, service centers. However, there is still a lack of infrastructure for electric cars today. The charging station is small and the supply and demand of parts is not good. In addition, government-backed subsidies for vehicles are also becoming more restricted and shrinking. Second, if electronic vehicle supply is activated in the future, production will not keep up with consumption. The proportion of electronic cars is still small, but if the proportion of electronic vehicles exceeds 30%, the production volume is lower than consumption. Third, as automakers move forward, their margins will fall further. The most important part of electronic car is battery. However, there are no cases where automakers make batteries at present. Even electronic cars have fewer parts than internal combustion engines, making it difficult for companies to make profits. This is change in the automobile industry itself. First, like the paper on the right, we need to reduce electronics that can save electricity. Also, in order to prepare for power shortage, it is necessary to increase the proportion of hydrogen cars by strengthening support of hydrogen cars. Second, we need to build your infrastructure at the national level and charge in a large scale within your region using methods such as wireless charging. Third, automotive manufacturers should increase their revenue in terms of vehicle software, such as autonomous driving instead of hardware. In addition, cooperation between companies should prevent them from dining out in the electronification era and lower unit prices through sharing of platforms. Uh, there are currently a number of problems facing the direction of electronification. First of all, infrastructure construction is still not smooth. Charging stations for electronic vehicles are still lacking, and hydrogen charging stations are hard to find except in metropolitan areas. Also, as the supply of electronic vehicles spreads, production will not be able to keep up with electricity consumption. Electronification will change the entire automobile industry. We think that the margins of the automakers will fall more sharply than they do now, and automakers will need to focus on software and cooperate with each other. Therefore, we think that companies need to prepare for new problems instead of thinking only about eco-friendly things. Thank you.
Wow, you guys are very relaxed about getting marks and evaluations. Okay.
Yeah.
I am not managing your time or your activities. That's up to you.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I think I saw this paragraph in this solution or solve, and you guys were saying that wireless charging is essential for large-scale charging. And can I know the reason why it is essential?
Because
It is ideal in Europe and in North America to say, what do you suggest? So turn a question around back to that person that gave you the question and ask them what they suggest if you are not sure. I know in Korea, you may be afraid to say you don't know, but in this class, with studying international management and managing culture, you get bonus points for saying things that you don't know.
okay. There is a limit to wire charging, not because we can construct every parking slot. Sorry.
While we wait, I believe the next person that's going to be presenting is Yoon Junbo. Can you sing me a song or start talking so I can see where you are to make sure you can share your screen?
I think she's not in the class, Professor.
Okay, that means that other people, Kim Un-bin and anybody else is able to take some time to present if you're available. Is Kim Un-bin here today?
She is here today.
She's not here? Okay, so Hua, can you go through check and who's the next student that should be able to use this time to present?
So John Bo Yun, she's supposed to present next, but she just messaged me to say that she's
Okay,
sick,
so who's next?
and any student can present if you want to.
Is there any students that have not signed up in this folder? Or everybody that is registered for Friday. Friday is going to be really crazy, especially Jung Woo-won and Son Ji-min, Moon Tae-kyun. I encourage all of you to try presenting now because we may run out of time on Friday. Oh. Okay. If you're not getting some evaluations, I will go ahead and share my screen. Again, I should not be sharing my screen. You should all be using this time to build your points. So let's start by going through, and we have identified that the oops, not in here. Here it is. So the marks for all students are already recorded here. Some students are basically already passing the course. Some students have close to 50 marks. Other students are still down around 3 points. It's the people that only have 3 points are students that are quiet and they're not sharing links. They're not posting in Facebook. If you want to get extra points, you can share your article in Facebook. You can share articles for the most maximum points in class, and you can give evaluations to other people. So I will give 2 bonus points to each person that writes a 1 paragraph evaluation of your classmate. Since we have about 30 students in class, you could probably get many bonus points just by evaluating several other classmates' projects. Is that clear? Moon Tae-gun, have you started to evaluate some students' files?
Not yet. I don't know how to access the sharing file. So.
Okay, can you use the time, talk, ask questions about what you're unsure of now? Please help everyone in the class to understand the same thing. We have the list of everybody's student numbers are here. You can just take the next person close to you and start exchanging details. So in our class list, you have at the bottom of the sign up everybody's email address. So you can take their ID number and email somebody or text message or use Kakao to exchange the details. That's one way. But you should also have in this class outline each student's folder link here.
Using the Google Drive, don't you?
So can you repeat what you need to do to get your evaluation and get extra bonus points?
So access the Google Drive, then pick one of the others project and then make some comments in their groups, right?
Okay, you know where this file that I'm showing is, right? What I'm showing right now? This is our class outline.
Okay.
Everyone has access to the class outline. And here are the links from people from last Friday. Here are the links to the people that have been presenting so far today. Kim Eun-bin still did not present, as far as I understand. And we have many people that are planning to present on Friday, but you must notice that all of these extra people are not sharing details, so we probably will not have time for these other students to present and get marks, because from the start of class 3 o'clock to 4:15, it's already reserved. So Jung Woo-won, Son Jimin, all of you, you should be presenting now because you might not have time on Friday. If not, I guess we're finished early. If you don't have questions, I can start going through and giving you a couple of comments. Otherwise, if nobody else wants to present, I'm shocked because when I was a student, I know that by sharing anything, even if I have garbage and share it, I can get points. But if you don't have time to present, if you don't present, you don't get points. So let's go through this again. You can see these files that I'm reading. All of this stuff, I'll make it a little bit bigger so it's easy for everybody to read. Students that already presented in week 6, some of you had issues, some of you had challenges, some of you did not get perfect. If you present again and you add more information, or if you give some improvements, you will get higher marks. So even people that presented last week, you should be trying to present again this week if you want top marks. If you're just happy with the marks that you already have, great. Otherwise, all students should try to start managing. Practice in management. I know in elementary school, middle school, high school in Korea, you're just supposed to follow what other people tell you to do, which means you're not managing, you're being a follower of some other leader. To practice participating as a manager, you should speak up. And so I evaluate everybody clearly and in detail, but students are required to manage and get your peer evaluations and comments for change to become a better specialist. Ideally, you get everyone in class to give you a grade and evaluation comments. The simplest, most basic way is you find one other classmate and you exchange your papers, your projects, and you do at least minimum 1 paragraph talking about what is the grade you get and what are some ideas you can improve upon. Next, many of you are thieves. I have a class of kleptomaniacs, criminals. You're stealing information from other people. Can I get somebody to explain to me what is IP theft? Im Min Kyun or In Min Kyu, could you tell me what is IP theft?
I don't know. IP theft.
Good. So now you're the manager. You ask one of your other students to explain what is IP theft.
I choose one people.
Yes.
You know.
Great. We're waiting for UNO.
Something like not giving a proper reference.
Yes. When you quote somebody's work, when you quote somebody's paper, every time you do it, every slide you do it, or every paragraph in your paper, you must have the author's name and the year that they wrote it next to your work. If you just take their information and show it on your screen and you don't have the author's name and the year they wrote it, that is theft. Why should we care? Anybody know what Turnitin is? Since you guys are all first-year students, you may not have been exposed to Turnitin yet. Anybody want to explain what is Turnitin? Turnitin is a program all professors use when you hand in your final material. It goes through a software program that will check, and if you say something in a sentence and you don't have the author's name and the year next to it, and you don't have the full details at the end of your paper, this software program called Turnitin will identify you are copying from somebody else. Keimyung University has a policy, anytime you have more than 10% similar to somebody else, university may fail you automatically. It's not even before I see it. But sometimes it's good to have a high Turnitin score. So Kim Sung-hoon and Yoon Sung-won, can you explain why do you think it is good to have a high Turnitin score? Yoon Sung-won. Yoon Sung-won, we're waiting for you to answer the question. I guess Yoon Sung-won is not participating in class today. I can't give marks. Let's go on to the next one. What about Kim Sung-hoon?
Yes. Did you ask why it is important, right?
I ask, why is it important, or why can you have a high, what is the importance of having a high Turnitin score? So you understand the question. Your assignment, it will go through a software program and it will check. If you have a sentence that talks about any other paper and you don't have the author's name and the year in that sentence or paragraph, the computer program will identify you as copying and you might fail. Sometimes you can have the computer program identify many times your paper is the same as some other paper, but only with references. If your reference is the same as Moon Tae-kyun's, then it's okay. Or if Moon Tae-kyun's paper references have similar details of Im Min-kyu, that's okay. References can be the same. But inside every sentence, inside every slide, inside every paragraph, if that is the same, you may fail. So make sure you understand that.
Okay, I understand it.
Great, thank you. Grow as a respected specialist. Reference properly, especially the Scopus reliable information in each slide. And no, most people in the world don't know what Scopus is. So when you go and we identified some students are going, they said in their methods section today that they are going to review literature. Well, that's not a research method. Reviewing literature just means reading. So literature review or background literature, you must show what other people say. And how you analyze it, that would be qualitative research or quantitative research. Most students should say qualitative research, or a case study is studying one specific company. So make sure your methods is correct. Every student, when you evaluate the term projects today of your classmates, almost every one of you say your research method is a review of literature. Well, no, that's not research methods. A review of literature just means reading. So that's not research. So you need to do a little bit more. Talk about, for example, a case study is you're studying one company, or participant observer is you're surveying other people. Those are needed.